What's going on, world? Welcome to my podcast. It's just different with Ty, where I talk about sports, social, political issues, you name it, everything under the sun. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and, leave comments in the section below. Hit the notification bell. I actually get updated on the latest new videos. Yo, this is probably one of my most anticipated videos right here. I got my brother with me. This was well overdue. He has an interesting story, and I think y'all need to hear about it. So let's go. Let's get right into it.
Welcome to It's Just Different with your host, Ty.
So, bro, I know, for the people that don't know, who's watching for the first time, don't know who you are, tell the people who you are.
Well, my name is Tuere Barnes. I'm from Peekskill, New York. I'm a pretty, like simple guy, but I went through a lot of trials and tribulations of life. Different. I've made a lot of decisions, and those decisions caused me a lot of different experiences, which I've embraced, and I've made the best out of it. So I know that was a little short for like, who are you?
That's good.
It's just like, I just want to keep it,
That's good. We're going to get into it, man. We're going to get into it.
Yeah.
We're going to get it rolling, man. We're going to roll it, man. So when you talk about a lot of trial and tribulation, which goes into the next question, how did you grow up? For the people that want to know is watching, how did that don't know you, again, don't know nothing about you, your story, nothing. How, what was your childhood like? How did you grow up?
Well, my childhood was like, single family household. I grew up in a house. There was 6 of us, 6 siblings, 5 brothers, 1 sister. Father wasn't around. I didn't meet my father till I was like 30, which is another story because I ended up having a good relationship with him. And it was, it was good that everything went like that, because it was for my betterment. But I was born in the Bronx. I lived in Staten Island for my early childhood till I was like, I want to say 8 or 9. And then we moved to Peekskill. And that's where, that's where the story begins.
All right. Okay. So,
but a lot of people, it's funny because a lot of people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And, it's not like I was like, I'm not, when I have a conversation with people, I tell them like, they be like, man, I didn't know that. I just always remembered you in Peekskill. I remembered you at, Woodside or Uriah Hill. Right. And I was like, yeah, but where I came from before that, I wasn't, you ain't know me before then. That's why, because I was somewhere else. But you know how the life's trails all lead back to, where it's supposed to be.
Correct, man. Correct, man. Definitely. So, we're going to jump right into it. Get right into it, man. From, who you are and how you grow up and, your trials and tribulations and different things like that. And at some point, at a point in your life, you found yourself, I'm going to say, a fork in the road or at a crossroads where, you could have went this way, you could have went that way. But, unfortunately, for whatever reason, whatever it was, you decided to, get involved with this, in the streets, whatever, in the sense of selling drugs or whatever have you. At what point in your life did you started to cross over and sell drugs and why?
Well, it started in 1997. And I was 14. And, it's just like basic. Like I don't want to sound basic, but it's so relevant, you know, in urban areas that we live in. That you live with your mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your dad ain't around, and you look for that father figure from whoever it is, music, right, to people in the streets, the dude that's on the corner, right, that's got the nice car, the nice ladies, the nice clothes, or my older brothers, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Or just the wrong, you look for that father figure in the wrong places. So just coming up and just watching my mother struggle, watching her work, you know, going through all the trials and tribulations that we went through as far as housing and living, and she always, you know, busted. I watched my mother hustle. So the way she used to hustle was, even when we was in the projects in Staten Island, my mother used to sell plates of food to the whole project. You know what I'm saying? And when we moved out, she had a store in Peekskill on Main Street, right there by Busy Corner. A lot of people don't know that, right? My mom had a store back in the early 90s. And I used to go to flea markets with her. I used to do everything with her and watch her hustle. So instead of taking her, she had legit legal hustles. It kind of instilled in my mind the hustle. And then when I just got of age, and when I got that age, it was like I was working at St. Peter's right there on Howard.
Yeah.
I took my checks that summer. I took my checks and I went and bought some weed. And when I went and bought some weed, I actually never looked back. But it was like I watched my mom hustle legally, and then the way I interpreted her hustling was I just hustled in the streets. And it started from weed. You know, they always say that weed is the gateway drug. And then it just went, never stopped until the prison sentence.
Now, you say you started at 14, right? So
Right.
At that age, you know, we 14. If you knew then what we knew now, right? So,
Right.
you know, can only imagine at 14 being in that position, thinking, boom, this is what I'm gonna do, whatever have you. So my question is, were you aware, right? Because probably not at that age. I don't know. I can't speak for you. You can speak for yourself, but were you aware of basically the risks that came with, you know, that life, as they say, especially at that age of 14?
What an obvious risk that you could be killed, right? That you might have to kill somebody, that you could be robbed, that you could go up north, right? To me, those was the obvious risks. And yes, I was aware of it. You know, I went into it like,
even at 14, at 14.
Yeah, even at 14, I was aware with it. But what I wasn't really aware with, and I'll keep it 100 with your, I got to keep it 100 with your podcast and the listeners. I wasn't aware of the whole federal aspect of it, about how a conspiracy works, about how when it gets federally, it ain't fair. It's a railroad. It's to get you to either snitch or do 1,000,000 years. Like, that's the options you have. I wasn't aware of that. And it's my own fault, because I should have made myself aware of it. You know what I'm saying? I should have researched. I should have, and I didn't. And that was a surprise. The dealing with the FBI, the DEA, you understand what I'm saying? Dealing with them. Because the way they dealt was I wasn't even ready for it.
There's so many.
I wasn't even ready.
Wow.
I wasn't even ready for it.
Man. Yo, yeah. You know what? You don't even. I'm trying to grasp, and I'm trying to. Although that was, I'm trying 14. I'm thinking about basketball. Whatever you're thinking about, playing with your friends, whatever, man. So to be at that age, 14, and you already in like adult mode, yo, this is what I got to do, man. That's
right.
Wow, man.
Right.
So take me in the life of a Tuere Barnes, in the sense of, because you said you was aware of certain things, but not everything. And of course, we tend to look at the money, the girl, the cars, everything else, and whatever have you. So with that, in a day or in a week, take me in the life of Tuere Barnes. How much money would you make in a day or in a week on average?
Well, like I said, it started off from weed in 1997, right? So just then I was just, I took my checks from St. Peter's. I went and bought some weed. I did what I did. I didn't have no goal. I didn't have anything. Because I was living with Beacon. I was living in Beacon at the time. So I moved down to Peekskill in 98, summer of 98. When I moved back down to Peekskill. And I was down there doing the same thing, selling weed, doing what I had to do. And my brothers, both my brothers, y'all know Liddy, y'all know why, they were like my father figures through my life. You know what I'm saying? So they were the ones that taught me everything, that disciplined me, that I watched, I followed after them. So when I moved down to Peekskill in 98, my brother Khalid got locked up first. I was living with him. Then he got locked up. So I had to go find my own place. And then my brother Dawood, wow, he got locked up on January 1st, 1999. So it's like 6 months after. He was my guardian because that's how I was going to school. I was going to Peekskill High School because he was my guardian. And when he got locked up, I was like just by myself out there. My brother Simi was out there, was with me, but it was my Lid and Wop, they weren't there. So I was like forced into a situation where Lid was in the feds and Wop was in the state. So now I was taking care of them. I had to make sure a phone was on, right? So that way they could call, I have someone to like, I had to go visit them. And now, mind you, at this point, I'm only 16. I just turned 16, 98, right? So you're not even allowed to go visit somebody in Valhalla at 16.
Right. That's right.
Because you're not 18. So I used to have to go pay people that were 18, go to Valhalla with them and say, hey, you're my guardian if they ask. The people, the COs be like, is that your guardian? Yup. And I would have to go visit. Like I said, Lid was in the feds. I was going to West Virginia. I'm doing all this at 16. So it just kind of like, it was like, more so I had to adapt. So the weed wasn't enough money. You understand what I'm saying? At that point, for me to live, for me to make sure my brothers was all right, then my oldest brother, he had a baby and he was locked up. So it was like everything was like right there and everybody like needed me. They were, you know what I'm saying? It was weird how it happened. But it was like everybody was like, so I was like getting pulled in like 10 different ways. And that's when I said, you know what? That's when you stop seeing me in school, 11th grade, 99.
Yeah.
I said, all right, school got to go, which was a bad decision, but I picked the streets. And then, you know, it just slowly started to progress. So to get back to your question, I know I went a little left.
That's great information, man.
Yeah, I want to say like 2000, I did a little bid, 6 months. I came home when I was like at the peak of what I was doing. I was selling drugs. I was out all day. I probably would make anywhere from like 5,000 a day to like when I was just dealing with addicts, when I was dealing with dealers, because I slowly started. First, I just deal with addicts. Then I was dealing with people who was hustling it with addicts. I would probably make like 5 a day when I was addicts, like 10 when I was dealing with dealers and addicts. And then I went to jail. I went to jail in 2002. I had to do a 1 to 3. I went to shock. While I was in shock, my son passed away. So my son passed away. I had never met him. My son's mom had him while I was in jail, and he died while I was in jail 4 months later. He was a premature. So when I going through that experience, when I came home in 2003, I was like, you know what? I really I'm not trying to, this is not my life. I got more potential than this. You know what I'm saying? So I got my GED when I was in there, and I went to college. I signed up for WCC. I went to school for business administration. I was majoring in business administration. Now, I was doing a little weed. What I was doing, the $5,000, $10,000, that was in the past. Came home from jail. I was just selling a little weed just to pay my bills, to get me through school, because I was paying for my own school. And I was like dibbling and dabbling, but I wasn't doing nothing extreme. Everything, I was just having fun. I was doing stuff that I didn't get a chance to do from 14 because I was hit with all that responsibility. So I was forced to be adult. So now I was back to just being a kid. You understand what I'm saying? I was partying. I was just chilling, hanging with people, chilling with kids, doing stuff that I liked to do that made me happy. Playing basketball. I used to go with Head. We used to go play basketball at what's the gym that used to be there by Lake over there by the
You talking about the
cottage? Go down South Street.
Oh man, I'm trying to remember.
That was called Elite Body. Was it Elite Body?
Okay. Wait, nah, that wasn't in Peekskill. Was it in Peekskill?
Yeah, right there. If you go down South Street by where the highway is, you make the right
I
by the
take the right by
like you go towards
yes,
Indian Point.
yes. That's what I can't remember.
I think
was
it's
like
Elite
over
Body.
20 years ago. Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, I think it was Elite Body. I used to go there with Head.
Yeah.
Me and Head used to go there every week and go shoot hoops and play full court 1-on-1. So I ended up getting violated. I got arrested with Peekskill late. It was after my curfew. And my PO said, yo, I'm not going to violate you because, you know, you are going to school, you're doing your thing. Let's just see what happens with the case. So that's what he told me. A couple of weeks later, I went to parole and my PO wasn't there. Another PO came and saw me. He was like, hold on, made me wait a half an hour and then violated me. This was in December of 2003. Wow. So when I was locked up for December 2003 for the violation, I'm thinking I'm going home because I got lawyers fighting. They fighting the case. It was like a misdemeanor. It was an 8 misdemeanor. I got caught with some work, like a couple of grams, something ridiculous. I don't even think it was a gram because it was a misdemeanor. So it had to be like a half a gram. And just trying to make sure my timing is right. All right, so then I was supposed to go home on March 1st. It was the craziest thing in the world.
Oh,
the lawyer,
God. We're gonna get into that though. Go ahead. We're gonna get it. I didn't want to stop your flow. You know what I'm saying? There was a question that I wanted to. No. It's all good, my brother.
This is a long time coming, and I'm trying to give it all to you, and I'm trying to be as transparent as possible.
No. I wanted to. I was gonna ask you when you had to deal with your brothers being in prison and whatever have you, did it ever come to you at any point like, yo, I'm next, yo, this might happen to me? Like, was it really a reality check? And then on top of that, 2-part question, was there any older OG or anyone to be like, yo, man, to talk to you, give you some positivity to try to make you leave that life and do something else more positive or anything? Did that ever happen? Do you remember, or did you ever yourself, like I said, ever thought, all right, now I'm definitely stopping now? Did that ever come to your mind?
Well, to answer you the first part of your question, right? Did I think that it was going to be me next? No, because I felt like, you know how it is. I'm smarter than my brothers. I'm going to learn off their mistakes, right? I'm not going to go to West Virginia with a bunch of work and get caught, right? I'm not going to get a sale indictment like my brother got, whopped and fight with the police and then go to jail. I'm not going to do none of that stuff because I've seen them do it and it don't work. So in my mindset, I know in jail they used to call it awfulizing, where you kind of like think like you take a negative situation, try to take the positive out of it and make excuses why it's going to go positive when the reality is different. So, yeah. So that's how I looked at that. Like, oh, I'm smarter than that ain't going to happen. As far as an OG, nah, bro. Everybody that I looked up to was in that life. My mother used to try. Now, I ain't going to front. I give her the absolute credit. Because when I was even a bad person, going through my learning stages, the good qualities were for my mom and my family, instilled in me. And she definitely always told me, like, yo, listen, I remember when I bought an expedition, right, in 2001. I bought an expedition in 2001, and my mother made me buy a house. She made me buy a house before. She said, I'm not letting you buy that car until you buy a house. She made me buy a house, bro. I went to the auction in Syracuse, sat there. There was a foreclosed property. They had them on like a little, when they got the I forgot what you call that. It's so old school where they take the thing down and they get the projector.
Oh, okay.
The projectors. Yeah, they got all the houses on the projectors. I went and bought a house for about $10,000 in Syracuse, right? Might have been like $9,000. And I bought my cousin a house for like $7,000. I got 2 of them. And then I bought my car. So she always was like, yo, nah, like telling me. But it was just like, I felt like I knew. And it was an experience that I had to learn. Because if I would have listened to her, I wouldn't have been me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it sucks. Because I see it with kids now. I raise kids now. I'm a stepdad. And I be telling them stuff and they don't want to hear it. And I'll be like, I remember when I was like that. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And I know the world is way more. I feel like it was a better place when we were younger, when we were growing up in the 90s. And I'm not knocking nobody. I just feel like it was more love. It was more people that cared about you. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't social media. Everybody's, putting on a facade. I ain't gonna go there because that's different from the life story. But I felt like, back then it was a lot of love. Although I didn't get it, like, yo, what you doing, man? Get off these streets. It was still love from people, even though they didn't encourage me to do the right thing. They still encouraged me, still supported me. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Okay. So, I was letting you go, and I was gonna lead right into this, man. March 1st, 2004. Do you remember that day and what happened?
Boy, I remember that day like yesterday. So like I told you, I was locked up for the violation. Now I'm waiting to go home because I feel like any other time I was in jail, I wasn't never doing nothing positive. So I feel like when I came home in 2003 and I'm actually going to school full time, got my own place, I'm not riding around selling drugs all day. I'm literally doing things, going to spend time with my family, going to spend time with kids, going out, writing people in jails, going to visit people. I'm doing all that type of good, what I like to do. The stuff that outside of that, although I was dibbling, the majority of my time was good stuff. So those like two months of incarceration was hard for me because I'm like, man, I was doing the right thing. Like, I'm doing the right thing. Like, why am I here? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had this lawyer named Charles Diven, was a crook. I think he's probably in jail now. Right? He was my lawyer. He set up my parole hearing and my court date. It was supposed to be, the parole hearing was supposed to be on, because I believe 04 was leap year. So I believe that it was supposed to, that it was the 29th. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but this day, the day before is a little, but the March 1st is there. But I believe I was supposed to go to Peekskill Court on the 29th, and then I was supposed to go to my parole hearing on the 1st. So I was supposed to go to Peekskill Court, and they were supposed to put me in a program because I told them I was using, which I wasn't using. I told them that, right? They're supposed to sign me to a program so I could go back, so I could get out March 1st, and I could go right back to school and everything. So I never went to court the 29th. He fed me some lies. He said, yo, you still got your hearing on the 1st. So I'm like, all right, my parole hearing. So, which they're supposed to revoke and restore me and let me go. So I wake up like 6 in the morning. So everybody waiting. I got all kind of letters. I had teachers writing letters to the parole hearing, friends, everybody. Yo, he was out here doing his thing. He was, basically character letters. So I wake up at 6. They don't call me. I'm up on my gate till 7:30. I'm like, hey, CO, man, I'm supposed to go to court. You ain't got no court. You're not on the list. I'm like, man, I'm supposed to go to court. So I'm like, let me use the phone. So I was waiting for him to use the phone, like 8:45. The CO came and said, yo, Booker just called for you. You got court. I'm like, man, I told you. So I go down at 8:45. I'm going to the parole bullpen. I'm thinking, you sit in the parole bullpen and they call you and they take you to the visitor room. Then you sit the whole process to go to parole hearing. But this time, they put me in a regular bullpen. So I'm like, yo, why y'all put me over here? You got court. So I'm like, court? I got a parole hearing. Yeah, there's court, but it's a parole. They said, no. You have court. We're waiting for the marshals to come and get you. So I'm like, marshals? Kanye Marshall? The basketball player? I'm like, nah, ain't no marshals coming to get me. What if the marshals want with me? So yeah. I'm telling them, why? You got it mistaken. There's no way the marshals. So they go get the sergeant. Sergeant's like, the marshals are coming to get you, Barnes. I'm like, why? You got to ask them when they get here. So whatever. I'm sitting there like, so now they tell me, yo, put your clothes on. So I know I'm going somewhere now because I'm like, they telling me to put my clothes on. If I was going to parole hearing, I'm going to go in oranges. I don't have to put my clothes on. So now it's really messed up. I'm like, put my clothes on. So I go put my clothes on. No, they couldn't even find my bag. When I go in the bag to put my clothes on, they steal your clothes. Because all the people that work in the booking area are all crackheads that come and they rehab for 6 months. and they just do whatever. They go back in the street and do them. So they steal your clothes. So when I got my bag full of clothes, there was no bag in it. So I'm back out there. They're like, why you ain't got any clothes? I'm like, I don't have no clothes. They telling me, yo, take clothes out the bin. I'm like, I just wear these oranges. Don't worry. Because now I don't know what's going on. So the marshals get there. They like, yo, Tuere Barnes? I'm like, yeah, but why you want me? Who are you? What do you want with me? I don't have a federal case. I got a parole violation and I have a state case. Why are you looking for me? You don't have nothing to do with the state. You don't have nothing to do with parole. There was a lady there. I'd never forget. She was smart and sassy. She turned my picture around. There was like a look. She was looking at it. He said, is this you? I'm like, yeah, that's me. She said, all right, you coming with us? So I'm like, yo, this is now. I don't know what's going on. So they put me in the Fed car with like 2-3 other dudes asking me mad questions. I'm like, bro, I don't know you. I don't know why I'm here. Just let me chill, man. Let me have my peace. Because they want to talk to everybody. Usually everybody talks. And I wasn't really a good talker that day because I didn't know what was going on. And I'm overwhelmed by the marshals and this whole policy of how things are going. So I get to the federal courthouse. They put me in a bullpen. They give me a sandwich, which I didn't eat. I'm walking around. I couldn't even sit down. I'm walking around like, yo, man, what's going on? So they call me in there and he started asking me, yo, where you live? They got a piece of paper, like it's a fingerprint form. So they filling out the top of it. And then they asking me, so I told the dude, I said, hey, listen, why am I here? He said, we'll get to that. So he's, yo, what's your address? What's your emergency numbers? Stupid stuff. So I said, hey, listen, man, why am I here? He said, we'll get to that later. I said, no, we're not getting nothing later. We're not doing nothing. I'm not saying nothing else to you. I'm not even letting you get my fingerprints, right? Until you tell me why I'm here. Man, he picked up a piece of paper. He said, man, you've been picked up on a conspiracy to distribute 50 grams or more in the Southern District of in New York with, I think he said 13 other co-defendants. Yo, I ain't gonna front. It felt like my jaw dropped. I felt like my soul left out of me at that point right there. I don't even remember doing the fingerprints, bro. I mean, I went through the motions, but mentally I wasn't there, bro. He fingerprinted me, put me back in the holding cell. I kept walking around, and then I heard a bus, I heard chains, I heard people. I'm like, man, must be more people coming in. And then that's when I saw everybody, all my brothers come in. I saw the rats, my brothers, everybody. And it was just like, I said, damn. I mean, I was more so like, yo, I asked them what happened? They told me what happened. And then we went up and got arraigned by the judge. And at that moment, it really wasn't like, I was done being overwhelmed. I was like, all right, it is what it is.
Yeah, you knew now.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, I got a Fed charge. They can't have too much on me because I wasn't doing nothing. So that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I got a Fed charge. There's no way that I'm getting the football numbers because I wasn't doing shit. I came home and got my life together. But in the Feds, that don't matter.
Exactly. And we're going to show, right now, that. So, my brother Tuere, he's official. This ain't no player words and nothing like that. This is the actual, document for the United States and it was called Operation Big Dog, So people will see that right there, March 1st, 2004. Listen, I wasn't even involved with it, but I remember that day because that was like a dark cloud over the city that day. It was crazy. And they, you got the joint right there, like I said, the Southern District of New York, you, some of your brothers, other Peace Corps dudes involved, and go ahead, Ray. I'm good. Keep on talking, bro. Keep on talking.
Nah, my fault. But I just looked at the date. So this is the superseding. This is what it was. This is rainy days. That day in 2004, it was just cloudy.
Yeah,
right? I just had a drug charge.
I think it was cloudy.
Yeah, I just had a drug charge, bro. I just had an 841B1A, which for those that doesn't know is conspiracy to distribute 50 grams or more, right? I didn't have that. This is the 06. And this was like, I believe that was like the eighth superseding indictment. So I just wanted to clarify. I know people are looking at that like, that's 06. That ain't 04.
That ain't 04. Yeah. But still, people can see it, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, while it's going on, right? While it's going on, what were you thinking at that time? Like I know you said now you knew, but while you going back and forth the court and everything else and all that other stuff, what was going through your mind?
I mean, I was stressing. I was in Valhalla acting like a nut. I can tell you that. Fighting everybody. Because that's how I felt like it. Because I was always like, my mom had a son when I was 15. So my youngest brother, I'm 15 years older than him. So I was always the youngest boy, and then I had my sister over me. So I was always like the runt of the litter, right? That always, my brothers was known people because they was older than me. So once it got to that situation, I was just like, I turned to anger because I'm just like, yo, why am I here, right? Why am I in this fed case? Even though this is my brothers, these are my family, I wasn't hustling with them, right? Because you got to think, when I was hustling, when I told you about the 5,000, 10,000 days with the addicts and the dealers, my lid was in the feds, and my brother Watt had a barbershop. He was a businessman with a barbershop, his own separate thing. I was the one out doing my own thing, finding my own people, creating my own lanes. So when I'm in this indictment, I'm like, what am I doing here? Even though one of the informants was my best friend, So
you can leave him nameless. We ain't gonna give him no shine.
Yeah. He already got enough. He already got enough publicity.
we ain't gonna,
Yeah, he
more than a foreman.
Right.
He's an agent.
All that, right? All the triple threat: agent, witness, informant, speculator, liar.
Correct.
Yeah, so I was always thinking like, I'm probably in this because of him, because that was my guy, right? So that's what my thoughts was. But like I said, we had a lot of stupid street issues, and we was in jail fighting with each other, people from Peekskill that we grew up with that you really supposed to stick together with. You understand what I'm saying? But it was so much, it was fresh in, it was bad blood. So now you in there, you fighting with your own people from your own town, we ain't from a big town. You supposed to stick together. So that's how I was more dealing with it physically, with this, and not even just people from Peekskill, just whoever that was in there that was a problem with. And then I was more so racking my brain like, yo, why am I, it's all good, this is gonna pass. This is gonna pass. I'm gonna get a couple of years because I ain't do nothing, it's gonna pass. And it just never passed. It just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And what really helped me mentally deal with it, because it was rough, bro. It was like my lowest point of my life, because you go from a parole violation, right? Yeah. Then you go from a 10-year plea deal, which they offered me in a global plea, which you probably gonna ask. I probably took a question.
That's all good. No, that's all good. Yeah. We're gonna go into that because I heard that. Yo, they like, yo, Greg crazy. Yo, they offered him this. He denied it. He denied it. And yo, fans got a 98% conviction rate. So explain all that. Go ahead.
Yeah, because that's the glitch. That's like people being mad about Obi Toppin being traded. You know what I'm saying? Because the glitch of it is Julius Randle's a better player. But to just compare that to my life and the situation is, they gave us a global plea. So the global plea is global. Like, if you just look at the word global, it's the whole entire globe. So the global plea is all 14 people have to take this plea, or you can't take it. So if I just went and say, hey, I want to take my 10 years, they're going to say, no, you can't. Is the other 13 people taking it? And I'm going to say, nah. You say, you can't take that plea. And then if I would even try to do that, you know what it came with that. Oh, he tried to cop out, da-da-da. You know how that all goes anyway.
Yeah.
So I never had an opportunity. They gave me a global plea, and my plea was 10 years, right? Nobody took the pleas. The lawyers told us that we were filing motions to get the case dismissed for various constitutional violations. So all the lawyers told us, nobody has to take their plea until the motions are decided, right? Before the motions were decided, my co-defendant, who was an informant, I just say he's government friendly, right? He was government friendly. Mm-hmm. He left the jail. And when he left the jail, his plea was only 15 years. So I know if you heard from him in any other spectrums, he'll tell you a whole 30. He was looking at 15 years. But he was government friendly. So he said, I can't do the 15 years. So I'm going to leave my brother with all you guys, just in case, because I know y'all rowdy, because y'all been rowdy. And if y'all beat him up, oh, well, y'all get more time, right? I'm going to leave him right with y'all, and I'm going to go to another jail, and I'm going to make up a bunch of lies. I'm going to tell them everything that I can tell them to get me from doing the 15 years. So it don't matter what I got to say. I'm going to say whatever, because I cannot do 15 years. I cannot do 10 years. I cannot do one day. I'm not strong enough. So when he left,
yeah,
that's when I told my lawyer, once he left, I said, man, I called my lawyer and said, just give me the 10 years. I don't even want to know where this is going. Because you think about, this has been my man for years. So right. It's like, what is he going to, and I knew he was a liar. So I'm like, I didn't even want to go down the road no more now. Because at first I'm like, 10 years, hell no. I ain't do nothing. That's a long time. But then when he left, I'm like, man, just call my lawyer and just give me the 10 years. When I called my lawyer, he said, you don't have a plea deal no more. They took you, they took Stud, they took Wop, they took Lid. All four of y'all don't have a deal. Everybody else got a deal, and everybody else is copping out. So I never had the opportunity to take 10 years. Trust me, if I could have, I would have. When I called them, I would have took the 10 years from the beginning and just been mad about it. But it would have been, I know the feds, you're not going to win with them. But I was in a situation now, and it just kept getting worse. Because now, every time I went to court after that, after he left, right, it was a new indictment. It was here, you got another indictment. You got another stuff from the 90s, what I went to jail for. I'm like, yo, what the? It just didn't stop. Stuff that he did, my co-defendant, the government-friendly guy did. I'm like, damn, he gonna blame that on me? You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, it was a reality, a rough reality, and it went from 10 years to where they saying, yo, we're trying to get the death penalty on you. I'm like, death penalty? You serious? You know what I'm saying? And then when they held the death penalty over me for about a year, then they said, all right, Washington said, nah, we're not doing that. They got to get it approved from Washington. Then they came back and said, all right, life. You want to cop out, take life right now. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. Because now I'm going to fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be in that. It ain't going no other way, but I'm going to fight. We're going to go to trial. We're going to rumble. I'm going to sit here and study this law. I'm going to sit here and become law literate, right? I'm going to sit here and read all these cases and figure this law out and figure out how I'm not doing life. You understand what I'm saying? In my mind, it was like, I'm not doing life. They're going to have to give it to me. I'm going to go out fighting. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was. And I started writing books at that time. That helped me a lot because I was able to express myself. You know, if I was feeling happy, I could write a happy scene. If I was feeling upset, I could write an angry scene. If I was feeling alone, I could write an alone scene, a desolate scene. And I was just spitting them out. Like I was writing my first book I wrote in 5 days in the hole. I was in a shoe. I wrote it in 5 days called What's It Worth? My second book, I wrote in 3 weeks called Push to the Limit. My third book was Bloodshed. It took me 3 years to write that. So I'm saying to say, like, I used to just be in my cell because now I'm like, yo, I'm not fighting no more the people in the jail, other inmates, people from Peekskill. No, I'm fighting the United States government. I don't got time for nothing else. I don't got time for altercation. I don't got time for nothing. I'm going to study this law. I'm a leisure, write my books, play basketball. You know, we made a little football in jail with a tall tissue. We used to play, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm like, I realize that my fight is with the United States government, and I'm going to need everything I got to battle with them.
So, how did you feel, bro? Yeah, this is a lot to unpack, man. You know, I appreciate you and love you, man. You know, so how did you feel knowing that you fighting this battle again, and then you find out your right hand man or your homie, and there's other people too, but you know, switch sides. You know what I'm saying? Like end up becoming a rat.
Man, I felt disastrous because at the end of the day, that like now he's just whoever he is, right? Whoever he goes by these days. I don't know if he has the same name, but whoever he is, right? Back then, I was like, that was my guy. Like, you know, me and you got into a disagreement over this guy, right?
Yeah, correct. In high school.
And I was on his side, right? And you didn't like him.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But I was like, nah, this is my man. And I had so much history, his children. I was their godfather. When I told you about coming home in 2003 and spending time with kids, I used to take his kids out every weekend. All 5 of them. I just take them out and take them to the malls, get them whatever they want. And while he was in jail, because during that time when I was telling you everybody needed me, a lot of people don't know this, right? And I'm not even explaining them. I'm just giving you the facts, right? When he was in jail, he did 8 months in Rikers Island. He owned a house in Beacon, right? He couldn't afford his mortgage. He went to jail with no money. And this dude was a flashy dude. I know the people like, who is this government-friendly flashy dude?
But you fronting because all right, go ahead. I ain't gonna stop you. Go ahead.
Bro,
go ahead.
He went to jail with $3,500, bro. He went to jail with $3,500 to his name in 2001. He got caught. He had a gun. Somebody was disrespecting his wife. He put the gun to the dude's head. The dudes ended up beating him up, taking the gun from him. Then when the police came, they gave him the gun back. They charged him with the gun. He did 8 months in Rikers Island for a gun, which I took care of him the whole 8 months.
Wait. You know what? I'm about to say. Wait, hold on. I'm thinking the timetable. It was 8 months. It was a year back then. It was a year back then. Yeah.
2001. He did
2007. That's when they put the 3 million.
Correct.
Yeah.
He did 8 months.
Yeah.
I paid his mortgage. I used to give his wife $800 a week. I took his $3,500. That's all he had. I took his $3,500. I said, bro, don't worry about it. He said, I'm gonna lose my house. I said, don't worry about it. I took his $3,500 and I gave his wife $800 a month, $800 a week for 8 months. So you can do the math.
I was thinking, like, wait, y'all should have known dude was funny then if he only got the 8 months in 01, but I forgot that was before the
that was when you could get 8 months.
8 months
right.
for the gun.
That's when you could get 8 months. That's when you could get 8 months for the gun. That's exactly. But he was funny then. But it was just we didn't know it. I didn't know it, and I was his right hand man. But he was always a liar. But he had nothing. So I used to I gave his wife $800 a week. I used to take the kids out while he was in jail every Sunday with my godchildren to give his wife a break. And I just felt like when you do stuff like that, right? When you take care of people, like that's what you're supposed to do. That's all missing. But to me, that's how I was raised. You're supposed to. Your man go to jail, you take care of him. You take care of his wife, you take care of the kids, you make sure everything is straight. You go visit him, you put money on his account, simultaneously with everybody else, all my brothers that was locked up. You took care of everybody. You didn't complain. You just did it. So when he came home, I forgot why you asked me that question. Why did I go off on that?
Nah, keep going. There's information. Talk about him, about how do you feel, about how you feeling.
So after going through all that and being invested and having his kids who called me uncle and goddaddy, you know what I'm saying? And his wife who was like a sister to me. So when you feel that type of betrayal, and then his wife had a mouth with it. So it wasn't just like, if she felt bad, and I felt like I would have been more receptive to her because I understand that's your husband. If he's a sucker, you a sucker. So that you both with it, right? I get it. But it was the fact that she would be seeing people on the visit lines saying, oh, they're going to get what they're going to get. Yeah, my husband, like backing it. Like she never said, yo, this is wrong. This guy helped me. This guy helped me. This guy helped my children. We would have been homeless. You understand what I'm saying? Like, like when you see people that say come to a court and they son or they relative killed somebody's people. If they sitting there like, oh, who cares? You look at it like, what? But if they sitting there like, you know what, I'm gonna pray for you. My son did this. I apologize for him. It feels different. You understand what I'm saying? Correct. And I never got that feeling from her. I got a feeling from her to my people that was just like, oh, well, he got to do what he got to do for him and his family. And at the end of the day, it's like, what about anybody else's family? And then my whole thing that was the biggest thing is dude wasn't dealing with the truth. You understand what I'm saying? When it came to trial, I was as big as him when I came home in 03. And I'm like, come on, bro. That wasn't the case, bro. You were calling me to come out of school to take you somewhere and do stuff. And I'm like, bro, you got to wait till after I get out of class. He was coming up to my WCC trying to find girls, right? To give him a break from the streets, but he get up on the stand and say, hey, this guy was selling everything. He was a kingpin. He was calling shots and this and that. I'm like, come on. That was my biggest issue outside of the telling, outside of just the lying. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, you trying to bury me for stuff that I ain't even do. You gonna bury me for what you know that wasn't the case. You know it, but you don't care because you want to get out of your situation and you don't care who you have to sacrifice to do it. So that to me, that in jail, I was still fighting for him. I went to the shoot twice for him for 90 days. You know what I'm saying? He was still scared to handle his stuff that he had in the street. He was still scared to deal with it. I'm fighting his battles in jail. And then you turn around and you rat on me. You rat on my brothers and you're gone. And I'm still stuck here with a disciplinary history in jail. They talk about, oh, I got assault charges, all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I was going to get bail.
I know. Yeah,
before.
Yeah.
And just to interject with this too, just to give the viewers a story. And I felt like I owed you this interview, right? Because I never spoke about none of this stuff since I've been out of prison. And I never thought to spoke about it because I moved on, right? I moved on. It's for the betterment of me. But I owed you this interview and this podcast because you was one of the chosen, selected few that ever looked out for me as far as money when I was in prison, as far as took time out your day to come visit me. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to let your viewers know the authenticity of who you are, right? You not just a podcaster that just don't got no stripes. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? You a day one. You are a king, right? You sat in a jail visiting room waiting an hour, however long it took them to get me out on the visit to say, bro, how you doing, man? I came to check you, man. What you need? I left some money on your books. Who you need? Have whoever called me for years. So I just wanted to put that out there just so your listeners can know who they're supporting. Because, you know, you see a lot of people on the podcast. You know, you can be whoever you want to be. So I just want to, I know you're not going to speak about that. So I want to speak and just show my gratitude and tell the listeners that this is who you listen to, a guy that took the time out his day to come visit a friend in prison and was there for him monetarily and just mental and emotional support. Letters, pictures, everything. So I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead, next question, bro.
You know, it's love, bro. You know, I love you. Nah, I appreciate you too. It's always love, man. I love you, man. You know that. And that the last few things you just said was gonna lead me into my next joint about why you was in there. All the people you looked out for, because I know, again, I don't want to be the one saying it, but I know how many people you looked out for, you know, just in the community and all the good things you did, whatever have you, positive things you still did in the community. When the tables was turned, were there any people that you were helping? Besides, I'm not talking about family. I'm not just talking about, you know, just regular dudes, you know, people in the hood. Was there anybody that came to see you that just that, hey, what's up? You know, anything, anybody like or they just left you basically deserted? Yo, that's it.
Well, it was a few in between. My mom's definitely. You know, my mom used to sit there because we were so silly in there fighting that there was one point that we couldn't be around each other. So my mother would literally have to come up there, and I just want to even though this is a little off topic, just give her flowers and just hear listeners to know when you have, you know, a son or a family member incarcerated, that you too are the victim. You too are incarcerated too. My mother would have to come up and visit all of us one at a time. It would take her whole Saturday. She would get on a bus from the Bronx, come to Valhalla, visit me. I would leave. Then they call the other brother down, visit him. He would leave. Or she'd do that 4 times. By the time she was done, it'd be 3, 4 o'clock. Because we fought so much with people that they felt like if we was around each other, we were going to fight somebody. So they had keep separates on all of us. So we couldn't even be around each other on a visit. The stupidest thing in the world. But back to your question, it was far and in between. The people that I did stuff for was a lot, but I did it out the kindness of my heart, right? And the people that looked out were like, the percentages was like maybe, you know, 15%. You know, 15% of people were thorough, to where 85 was, I don't want nothing to do with you. You know, you're not helping me, so I ain't in a position to help you. But what I would say is the benefit of only having 15%, it forced me to find who I was. It forced me to say, bro, there ain't no drugs in here, right? There ain't no weed in here. There ain't no crack in here for you to sell. What you gonna do? So now it forced me to say, all right, I was in college, I'm gonna continue it. That's when I started, because in English, in school, I was always horrible in English. They were trying to put me in special ed English for like 6 years, right? I ducked special ed English because I went to so many schools that they could never catch up to me until I think like Pete Skill. They finally put me like, yo, your English is that below average that you need to go in special ed English. I had one special ed class, which was English, right? And I say that to say, if you read one of my books I wrote, people will tell me, yo, bro, I thought you graduated from college in journalism because this is all the stuff that school told me I couldn't do. You know, when it comes to grammatical, sentence structure, words, description, form, everything, it was like mastered, right? And it was like, well, why can't you do that? Why would they just didn't know how to get it out of me. They didn't know how to get it out of me in school, right? But once I was in that situation where I didn't have everybody, now it was for it. I'm like, I got to feed myself. You understand? So I was broke. I'll be wanting to tell you, in prison, I had the stories, the cars, everybody knew who I was, spinning rims, jewelry. But in prison, I had nothing. In Valhalla, I had to work for mine. I ain't sit back and just get commissary and go, no. I had to be the orderly when they let me be an orderly. I had to make food, cook for people. I had to write letters, because now a lot of people don't know that you got dudes in jail that can have a conversation with you but can't write a letter. Don't know how to spell, don't know how to use a sentence, ain't never went to school and nothing. And those are the people with girlfriends that be like, man, yo, I got to write my girl. I got to say something. Yo, Ray, write me something. I started writing poems. So I discovered, I discovered my inner talents, my workings through trials and tribulations. So I'm happy that those 85%, because if those 85% people were there, then I'd have been spoiled. I'd have sat back in jail, played chess all day and checkers, and watched TV. You know, at this time, what was out? Prison Break and stuff like that, and Fear Factor and silly TV shows that don't teach you nothing. I'd have been there watching them, and I'd have been like one of my homeboys who got out of jail, and they back in jail because I wouldn't have took the time to learn. Because jail ain't gonna do nothing for you. It's what you're gonna do for yourself. So that situation forced me to do for myself. And when I was done with jail, I wrote over 9 books. I got 3 of them published, which I got ripped off on, but that wasn't even it was my mind saying I accomplished something. I'm a published author. You know what I'm saying? Because bad enough, I couldn't get nobody to look out for me. I couldn't even get nobody to buy my books. You know what I'm saying? People in jail that I was just meeting was the ones buying mine. Then there was certain people, certain thorough ones but it wasn't a lie. My stuff should have sold out off the shelves. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a dude that got street credibility, that been through it, and that's right. And I was nice. I wasn't just like shoot 'em up, bang, bang. No, gave description. I gave words. I gave you food for thought. I gave you a story. You fell in love with the characters. I was good with it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Correct.
That's how the people that didn't look out, that's how they helped me.
Ain't surprising, man. So fast forward, July 13th, 2020. What does that day mean to you?
Man, that day means everything, because now the part that I left out with you is, so I went to trial. I got 25 years.
Oh, yeah. Go back and
I got 25. I got sentenced to 25 years. That day I got sentenced, I told the judge thank you when he sentenced me, right? And the reason why I thanked them, because they wanted to give me life and they fought for life. And the only reason why I didn't get life is because I was looking at another black judge who was only on the bench for 7 years and was now retiring because he couldn't do it no more. He couldn't let the system manipulate lives. And you do the crime, you do the time. But the overcharge and the stuff, he couldn't do it. He was a judge from 2003 to 2010. I was the last person he sentenced. He said, I'm not giving him life. I'm giving him 25 years. And most people would say, well, to curse the judge out. I said, thank you, because I knew that my guidelines were life. You understand what I'm saying? But he gave me an opportunity, and I recognized that right in the courtroom. I told him, thank you. And then from that point on, I wrote motions and fought my case until I came home. And the crazy part about it was everything was denied. I was like, I was like John Starks in the finals, bro. I couldn't hit a shot.
Hit 217. Right?
What? And Hubert Davis was on the bench, but they left it there, right?
Yeah.
And my last time, right? Trump, out of everybody, Donald Trump, when he came in office, he made a law that made the Fair Sentencing Act retroactive. So when I got sentenced for 50 grams or more, which was a 10-year minimum. Trump made the law retroactive that Obama started. So now it's 50 grams or more. It's not a 10-year minimum. You need 280 grams to be a 10-year minimum because of the disparity, which is some systematic injustice that we'll get to another time, right? It's meant to enslave and give blacks and minorities the higher prison sentence and then give everybody else who's not the lower sentence, because that's why they got the disparity, because the blacks sell the crack and the cocaine and minorities, and the white people sell the cocaine, not crack. So the cocaine is not going to get you no time, but the crack, you're going to get 20, 30 years. So I fought and fought. So when I got down in 2017, I was in Danbury, and I was trying to get an attorney because now by this time, I was conditioned. I had wrote all those books. I had a whole cooking empire in there where I used to fry wraps and make like $300 a weekend in prison, right? I used to make $300 a weekend in prison. So I was like, money saved lawyer, now how I want to go about it. You understand what I'm saying? So I was reaching out to lawyers like, listen, I applied for this new drug law. I got sentenced under that. Although I got violence, my basis was drugs. And lawyers wouldn't even take my money, Ty. They said there's nothing everybody in the compound said, bro, you got violence. You are not getting no reduction, Fair Sentencing Act with violence. I said, but it's up to the judge's discretion. I got drugs. My base offense level was a 36 because of drugs. The violence then added that. But now if my base offense level was a 32 because of the drugs, then the violence added on that, I still don't end up with life. Or I still don't even end up with 25 years. Or whatever I end up, it's the judge's discretion. And nobody said, nope. And I said, you know what? I'm not listening. I wrote my own motion. During the time I was in jail, I was teaching classes. I had all those books. I never had, and the crazy part is, I never had a ticket. I never had a ticket in prison, which I did have tickets, but I beat them all. Because now I was already sharp with the law. They used to call me, I was in West Virginia, they used to call me the lawyer. Because everybody who got tickets inside disciplinary infractions out of the jail, they bring me their ticket, I dissect it, write up their appeal, and beat it for them. And charge them. I was charging like $10, $15, something nice and affordable, but that's what I liked it doing. So whenever I got in a situation, I always found a loophole and I always beat it. So when it came time for the judge to look at my case, I had no tickets. They called every school. I had letters from COs that I worked for. I had letters from outside people. I had all like 150 certificates. I had all kind of sports. I had like another 50 sports certificates. I had all kind of stuff. I was married. So now the judge is looking like, man, this is a whole different guy than what, and it wasn't even my judge. It was a lady now. Now I got a lady because my judge retired. So now I got fresh eyes on it. That's looking at like, man, this kid was in jail since he was 21 years old. He's 38. It's 17 years later. I didn't give him nothing. Everything he wrote me for as, I gave him nothing. I denied every motion. I gave him nothing. And he had legitimate issues. And I gave him nothing. So it was like, this the time I'm going to give him. And she came to me. I was in Louisiana. They put me in an immigration jail.
That's right.
I got some trouble in Danbury, which was no trouble. A lady was harassing my wife. I wrote a grievance on her. And the next day she put me in the shoe. I was there for a year. That's when I was writing the motions about to get home. And they ended up putting me in immigration jail as punishment. So not only did they move me out the jail, they moved me to Louisiana. But when I got there, the guy was like, hey, you're an American. And I knew once he called me an American that something wasn't wrong because I've never been called an American my whole entire life. So I'm like, man, this guy is telling me that I'm an American. Like, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And when I got in the compound, there was only 5 Americans. I was the 6th one. Straight up, it was like being in a third world country. But it was all good. I met a lot of good people there. I sold my property. I made a couple $1,000s off my property. Because now when I went there, I had so much stuff that I accumulated that my sneakers were going for like $500-600. Colognes, I was selling colognes. So I said, oh, they put me here to save some money. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I always looked at things. My body washes, because I used to just collect stuff because I know how prison was. You get moved somewhere, you don't know, you don't got no money income. So I always had, boxes and stuff. When I got there, bro, I had so much stuff. I made a couple of $1,000s off of it, just off like petty stuff, cologne, sneakers, jackets, you know what I'm saying? Hats, just like stuff that they never even seen that I had. You know what I'm saying? So when I finally, they ended up giving me lawyers to judge. The judge she wanted to help me so bad that she gave me lawyers, and she gave me some pro bono lawyers out of Manhattan. 2 young girls that just came out of, one was from Pittsburgh and one was from Iowa. They just came out of law school. Man, they were like 2 pit bulls, bro. They fought. They used to call the jail. They tried to get me out the immigration jail. He's not an immigrant. Why do you have him there? They were like pit bulls, man. And they called. It's so crazy that the jail was on lockdown. I had a cell phone. The jail was on lockdown, and my wife, she was blowing up the cell phone. I'm like, babe, the jail's on lockdown. I can't talk to you on the phone right now. I'll call you later. She's like, you can't. You're coming home. I was like, what? Because, I'm in jail mode. I got this little phone like this big. I'm stashing it all around. I'm charging it with batteries. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what? She's like, you are coming home. The judge granted your motion. They got 7 days to let you go. First time, probably about the second time I cried, bro, in my life. Word. It was just, I didn't know what to do, bro. I was like, what? Like an animal, bro. Like, it was just like, because you've been in a cage so long, it's like, I wasn't even prepared. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, I always said it, I'm not doing this time, I'm going to come out. But like the way I was moving, how I was in jail, saving, learning, reading financial books, financial literature, like however I could do, I'm like, man, had I known I was coming home, I'd have been saving. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'd have ate more peanut butter and jelly.
Exactly.
I'd have ate more.
Exactly.
But it was all love, man. My brother came and got me. He drove from Florida. Yusuf drove from Florida. The jail was so oppressive when he drove from Florida, 12 hours, right, from Florida, from Tampa, where he lives, to Louisiana, where I was at. They sent him away. They said, nope, we're going to make your brother wait the whole 7 days. So he thought he was going to like be mad. He said, don't even worry about it. I'm going to go to New Orleans with my girl, and then I'll be back. I'll drive all the way back in from Florida, and I'll get him in 7 days. Don't even worry about it. And he drove back there in 7 days with my mom, my little brother, and came and got me. And it was on ever since. I spent the day with my mom down there. I came home to my wife. I flew up here in Boston. She's from Boston. And I got to working. I had to probably the hardest thing was getting my license because it expired. So I had to go through the process all over again. And my dad, who I built a relationship with in my last years of prison, when I came home, he gave me a car. He told me, hey, how much you got saved, son? I said, Dad, I got $15,000. And I said, he said, man, you saved $15,000 in prison? I said, yup. And he said, here, you got 30 now. And I never looked back. I went and got a job. I worked 7 days a week. I invested. And now I own my own home. I own my own business. And I'm out here watching the rain, talking to you. I say, I want to be nature. Yeah, I want to get a little nature. So I say, I bought my deck. Right. I said, man, I want to come.
We gotta go hiking then.
Right. I want to come. I felt like, hiking,
Yeah,
I want to get it kind of like a hiking mode.
Yeah.
Slash,
So, I love you, bro.
So, yeah, man.
Your story is powerful, man. And if anybody watching this, man, this is a true story on my brother Tuere. And somebody out there, any director, producers, man, just do a story on my brother. True story. I love my brother, man. So real quick. Now, since you're talking about everything that you accomplished, right? Coming home, what was it hard making that adjustment, being in prison so long, having a different type, mindset and everything else? Because when you was locked up, I don't think, they was barely phoned. I mean, I don't think there's no iPhones at the time, but
next to those.
Internet was somewhat
It was all.
So what was the transition like, man?
It was all Nextels. It was
Yeah.
Nextels, but the transition, I'm gonna be when I first came home, it was like, because I'm still like, I know I drive my family crazy. I get up and clean the whole house, right? If they leave a dish in the sink, I'm washing it. Like I'm very meticulous. It's gotten better now. When I first came home, I used to, if somebody closed the door, I jump up. You know what I'm saying? And like I used to like sleep and I didn't move. I'd be like, because I'm used to sleeping on them beds and there. So it's like you sleep in the same place. There ain't no rolling over. So it's like it was a transition. And the biggest transition was the way the world is now. Because I'm still old school. So I still have the older values. So when I see the way the world has become, when I see the disrespect, when I see the way the reckless regard people have for one another, when I see the selfishness, right? When I see the lies, when people just promote lies and just get on and say anything and this is a straight up lie, I'm like, wow, this isn't me. This is not my way. Like, this is not my way of the world. Like, I'm not even adapting to this way. I'm holding on to what I have. And like I said, I was blessed. My dad matched the money I had and gave me a car. I don't know if I said that. He gave me a car. He had a Kia for me when I came home. And it just helped me, man. I just went and got a job. And it was so crazy that, 2 years later, he's got, was diagnosed with cancer, pancreatic cancer, right? And when he called me, he said, son, come down. I need you at the doctor's. I got to go to the doctor. I want you here at the doctor's. So I'm like, where's my dad? Doctor's. So I go down there and the doctor told my dad, me and my wife, and after the doctor told him, he like, yo, listen, at this point, you got 6 months to live. You could get a hospice, you be hospice, or they put you in a place, or you can stay at home and rock it out. And I looked at him and I said, Dad, you coming with us. Like, you're not staying home. I'm not letting no people take care of you. And like I said, me and his relationship just got the last couple of years, but I was grateful for those years. He taught me a lot and I was able to understand why he wasn't there. You understand what I'm saying? And my mom she didn't raise me like talking about my dad. So she raised me just with morals. So I didn't know the story enough. Like I didn't know what he put her through. So that I didn't judge him. I didn't have no opinions on him. So I was able to not, I'm still upset because it's like, Dad, like, you around, I don't go to jail.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Because now I got somebody, like you were saying, to show you, nah, don't do this. Nah, do that. Nah, you play ball, we're going to get you in basketball camp. You're going to go, nah, you play football, we're going to get you here. Nah, you want to be a lawyer, we're going to get you, like, however, I didn't have that. And that was his job. But I understood it that nobody's perfect and I got to be who I got to be. So it was a blessing to have him in my house, to take care of him for us. And it was quick. It was only 2 weeks he was gone. You know what I'm saying? But it was to have him there. And I didn't know what I was getting into. I just said, Dad, you coming with me. But I didn't know. I'm not a nurse. But I did everything that I had to do. And I felt good doing it. It was a lot, but I did it. And I felt good doing it because it was like full surface. You understand what I'm saying? It was full service. It was like we went through everything and you here, I got to be here for you. I'm your son. You might have not been the greatest dad. You tried to make it right. I respect it. And I'm going to be here for you. You know what I'm saying? And he actually passed away in my house. He passed away in my house. So I just tied the string of the story with that because it was just like, he was there for when I came home from jail and just not having him and the effect of it. And didn't see it come around, full service. It didn't have to do the funeral or do all this stuff and be on top of it. It was just like, I never did that before. So it was a learning experience within itself, But every day, man, every day is still a learning experience. And I feel like if anything, because I don't want to be the one to get on here and just glorify this stuff. Oh, I was in the streets. Oh, I went to jail and I was this and I was thorough. Nah, I want to say the thorough most part about it is that I learned from everything, right? I was able to spend 17 years of my life in prison. Missed everything, right? Don't even have an idea. I couldn't use an iPhone. I still don't know how to make a TikTok, right? None of that, right? Because I was gone for so long. But to be able to come back home, my first 2 years from home, I worked 7 days a week, right? 3 jobs, Amazon, DoorDash, Instacart, 7 days a week to buy a home. You understand what I'm saying? Now, once I bought the home, I'm like, oh, I'm not even stopping there. Now, I don't want to work for nobody. Now, let me start my own business, right? Shout out to Earn Your Leisure, my cousin's podcast. Earn Your Leisure taught me everything I needed to know about a business. Now, I want to link y'all up because I want him to be, I definitely want to bring great minds together.
Most definitely.
Taught me everything I needed to learn about business and how to do business, how to save, what to spend, how to manage, how everything, it was, so it's like, I'm just still building, but I feel like the moral of the story to people is you can go through something, right? But it don't have to define you. It can make you a better person. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to come home and now say, oh, I'm gonna go back. I used to make $5,000. Let me go back and hustle. Because there's no longevity in that. That's not legal. That's not gonna make you provide for your family. Because better believe that 5,000-10,000 that I was making, I didn't have nothing in jail. That house I bought, you think I had that house when I came home? You think I had those cars that you used to see me with? You think I had that? I had nothing. So at the end of the day, it's like you did all that to have short-lived glory, get a bunch of fake, phony friends who are only around you because they could profit off you. Then you go to jail. You're done. You don't have nothing. Now you got to start. You better off just going to work. And these, I've been home 3 years now in 12 days, right? In these 3 years.
Congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. In these 3 years, I've saved more money. I have more money in my bank account. I have more credit, right? And credit lending and credit spendings than I ever had when I was in the street selling drugs.
So on that note, bro, we gonna get you. Listen, man, we gonna listen. This is that, and that's needful information. We're gonna get you out of here on this, man. What would your message be to the youth, or someone who's watching it, or someone you see that's, at that fork in the road and they looking to go left instead of right? What would your message to that younger person would be, or just people in general?
Right. Don't go for the fast. Don't go for anything fast. Anything that happens quick is not good for you. So the easy success would be you in a jam, you in a fork in the road. How do I get out? Can I pull some scams? Can I go sell some bud? Can I go try to sell some work, sell some pills? That's the quick fix. That's not going to help you because everything right now is not even, the drug game now is completely, it's never been good, but it's worse than, because when I was around, there wasn't no fentanyl and people wasn't dying like this. You know what I'm saying? Where you taking something and you don't even know what you take it. It was never like that. So now it's even worse than it was 20 years ago when I was involved in it. And I feel like you just got to take your time and say, nah, I'm going to go what's best for me. I'm going to think about how I would want. Because at the end of the day, you're selling drugs. How would you feel somebody sell drugs to your mother? Like, right? How would you feel if you walked and saw somebody selling crack to your mother? How would you feel if you saw somebody selling coke to your mother or heroin or fentanyl? You would be like, yo, nah. And I feel like when you look at it and become humanized by it, that it's just not, even though you feel like, oh, if they don't get it from me, they're going to get it from somebody else. You're putting yourself in the line. You're putting yourself in the fire to go through this system, which is modern day slavery. You're putting yourself to go through these beefs that we see on TV with somebody trying to rob you or somebody trying to do something where you're going to have to hurt somebody or somebody going to hurt you. And it's not even worth that. At the end of the day, it's based on nothing. You'll get 20, 30 years. You'll be in a federal jail and won't nobody care about you. You'll be buying toilet tissue because it's not free. You understand what I'm saying? and that's how it goes. Like, you're going to be working for $15 a month and you're going to do hard work, right? You're going to be working for $15 a month. You might have to go to the kitchen, right? And be a head cook. You'll make $60 a month, but you'll be working 8-9 hour days. And the only time that you'll have anything extra is if you're stealing onions and stuff and to bring them back to the union and selling them. So this is the reality that they don't see, because when they see TV, you see the guy in jail with the tattoos, right? Doing the push-ups, right? Lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like, oh, yeah. No, they don't see the struggle of it, right? They don't see that. You see people dying in there, right? Literally dying from malpractice or dying from a knife in their neck, right? Or you go to the kitchen and you're just eating junk, right? Or you have to pay $1 for a soup, right? Or you have to do your laundry. You got to buy laundry detergent, right? Or all that stuff in jail, you got to buy toilet tissue that they don't give you, how they just carry you, talk to you anyway, tell your people, hey, get out of here. Your people come to visit your girl, they tell, hey, just leave. They have a bad day, the way they talk to you, the way they carry you. You say something to them like me. I wrote the lady up, they put me in a hole for a year. I didn't sit in the shoe for a year. I didn't do nothing. All I did was write up and say, hey, leave my wife alone. Every time she comes for the last year, you make her leave early. You kick her out the children's room. You're being very retaliatory to her for no reason, discriminating against her. That's all I said, but I'm well written. I write books. So she read it, didn't like it, called one of her girlfriends up. They had enough power to keep me in a hole for, and this is a black woman, right?
Wow.
To keep me, and I don't even get to the, because my wife is Italian. So I don't even get into the whole black and white. I like to judge people on who they are beneath their skin. But to see that, because you know their familiarity of what we go through, right? Because they're from the hood just like me. Both of those, the two, the CO and the lieutenant, they were both from the hood, right? And they sat me in the hole for a year. And then they sent me to an immigration. They said, we don't want to put you in a regular jail because you too live. So we're going to put you somewhere where it's nothing but Spanish speaking people and people straight from Africa and straight from Haiti and straight from everywhere else, the Middle
China
East.
somewhere. Yeah.
That, and we're going to group you and now see what you can do in there. But I was blessed. I was let go. So that's why I like to just, to the youth, you see all that, just sit here, go get a job. Because now you minus that 17 years, now you retired. Had I went and got a job in 1998 or 2000, right? It's 2023. I'm retired now.
Yeah, we retired. Yeah.
I'm living off a pension. Now I'm just going on vacation. Now I can live but instead I'm back starting all over, trying to work my way up and say, hey, by 60, I'm 40 now. By 60, hopefully I can be retired, right? And now
you're going to be retired before then, bro.
Right.
You're doing better than a lot of dudes. And it's not judging, man, because everybody's path, everybody's they hit their stride at a certain point of life, man. So people trying to find their way, but you're doing a lot better than a lot of people that didn't go to prison at all, especially for 17 years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely proud of you. Forget what anybody else got to say about it. I love you and I'm proud of you, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna ask one more question. One more. I know I said that was supposed to be the last question. This is gonna be the last question to get you on out.
Good, here, bro.
Man. And I appreciate you. So, boom. When it's all said and done, right? When it's all said and done, when the smoke is clear, the dust is clear. What's gonna be the legacy of Tuere Barnes? What do you want people to say about you? What do you want to leave behind?
My deeds, bro. Everything my sincerity, the person I am. I want people to be able to say, yo, he went through it. He was always, if he told me he was going to do something, he did it. If there's anything he could do to help me, he always helped me. If anybody did anything for me, I was always appreciative, never ungrateful. And basically, I just want to, that's the biggest thing. I feel like I went through all these situations and these experiences, and I always had good character, right? Mm-hmm. And I never let the situation, I never let the situation make me determine who I am. So if everybody's ratting, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I don't need because I know a lot of people give credit. They be like, oh, I didn't rat. You're not supposed to rat. You know what I'm saying? You don't give me no credit for getting in the shower every day. I'm supposed to get in the shower. I don't get no credit for brushing my teeth. I'm supposed to brush my teeth. I don't want no credit for not ratting. You understand what I'm saying? Because I wasn't supposed to. This is what I was supposed to do. So I say that to say that I didn't let the world dictate me. Even now, when I came home and people are disrespectful to people, nobody helps somebody, nobody cares about no. I don't do that. I'm like, nah, I'm from the old school. I ain't doing that. I tell the kids all the time, hey, stop talking to that. Stop talking to your sister like that. Stop talking to your mother like that. Because I know that's not what I do. So I just basically want to leave that. And I'm still a work in progress, bro. I'm still working on things and trying to figure it out and learning this new world and trying to, do what's best and be the best man that I can be.
My brother, I appreciate you. I'm going to have you on here again. Best believe, y'all. Again, this is my brother, Tuere Barnes, man. I love him. You know what I'm saying? I'm so proud of you, man, and all your accomplishments and much success in the future, man, and keep the positivity. We're going to get that. We're going to have a petition signed or something like that to get to where a producer or something to do a movie on you, man, because it's more needed. Yeah, I mean, you don't need it, but because you already validated, man, but, it's just, I feel, and I'm not just saying this, that your story, man, is just so powerful and inspiring, and And you know, when you come from where we come from, you know, not a lot of options, lack of access to a lot of different things, and we try to make the best of what we got. You know, and sometimes we might not always go the way we should, but it's definitely refreshing and good to see that there are brothers like you that made a mistake and learned from it, and now doing a lot better and in a positive way, man. So I love you, my brother. Thanks
I
for
love you
being
too,
on.
bro.
We're gonna link up again for sure, definitely for sure. It's just different with Ty, and make sure you guys like, subscribe. You know, Tuere, you want to say anything? I'm gonna give you the last word. You want to say anything before we bounce?
Man, I definitely want to say, definitely subscribe. Definitely subscribe. This man is genuine. This man is thorough. I've already laid out in the interview. If you missed that, go back and rewind it to break down and see how he was so thorough with me. But I also want to let the viewers know this is the first time I've never spoken. I've never talked about anything because I had to get to work when I came home. So this is the first time I sat down and spoke to somebody, and it was perfect because I felt like I could do something for my brother's platform. He helped me. He was there for me. And I feel like that's just how, you know, one hand washed the other, both washed the face. And I'm very appreciative of him, of his time. I'm very appreciative to the supporters. And anything you put your mind to, you can do. Whether good or bad, you know, just use that for the good. Because I'm going to be honest, what Prince taught me is I make do whatever, and I make the best out of it. Every situation, every way. I'm meticulous with everything. It definitely helped me outside of all the trial and tribulation. It helped me become a better person, it helped me learn. I gained people skills that people out here don't even have. Because everything is, you know, texting, social media, to where I'm in jail with 200-300 guys, and I got to deal with those guys every day. You know what I'm saying? I got to know how to say hi. He's ratting. I'll say hi and bye to him. And this one is, you know, a sexual offender, so I got to stay away from him. And this one is a fake, is a fraud. This dude been checked in at every jail. This one's going to rob, you know. So you got to know all that and know how to, you know, set your boundaries, you know. So it taught me that. And then when you bring those skills to this world, it's like, man, you 10 times, because now I can communicate with anybody. I could be out here. I could speak to anybody. I could ask questions. I could go in the store and learn stuff. People, I never knew that. Oh, yeah, I just was in there asking questions, talking. So I'm grateful, man. I know I'm going on and on, but I'm happy
baby.
to be on your
going.
podcast.
Keep
you got
going,
the Kobe
baby.
picture. You got Kobe right there behind you.
Yeah,
so it's like, you know, I could definitely appreciate. I'm thinking about the last game I watched of him against Utah with all them shots, and 50 shots and 50 points.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you got the nice ambiance, man.
Yeah. Nah, salute to the Mamba, man. R.I.P. to the Mamba, man. You know what I'm saying? Definitely one of the GOATs, man. You know, and you know this, and you know too, LeBron. Listen, Jordan's my favorite player of all time. LeBron's my guy. You know that, but Kobe, man. Hey, that's the Mamba right there, man. So,
Kobe, huh?
You know? Kobe, man. That's the Black Mamba, man.
You got to have me on here speaking about sports, man. We got to get a sport, because right now they blow me up about Obi Toppin, and I don't understand the fans, man. So even if you get me up on something, I know you got a lot of Knicks guys. I watched your joints. I know you got a lot of Knicks guys, and even some of them I've been seeing they posters. They like, yo, Obi, and I'm like, come on, guys. Obi he's not Julius Randle. Yeah. Like, let's stop it. Like, I don't like everything Randle does, right? He's bad body language. I go to the games. I watch him argue every call. I'll be like, man, shut up and play ball. But at the end of the day, he's 2-time All-Star, third NBA team, most improved player. Obi will never accomplish that in his career. And I can say that now because we watched him. He's a dunker. And he's a three-pointer. He's a three-pointer and a dunker who can't play no defense. He don't have no moves. So in the NBA, that works in college when you at Dayton with 4 guards and you the point center and you pick and roll and you to death and you athletic than everybody else.
Yeah.
But in the NBA, it ain't working. But I ain't gonna go there because I know that's basketball.
We gonna do it. Listen, I promise you, we're gonna do this real soon. Hopefully, probably this next week. We're gonna talk about the sports. I want to have you on that, man, bro. So again. Love, man. I love you. And again, man, we're going to do it again and be safe. I'll holler at you later.
All right, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you. Much love,
appreciate
man. God
you,
bless.
Man. Yes, sir. Bless.